Have you seen this? It's a rock and roll fantasy starring a cinderblock with hair billed as Michael Paré.
Welcome to Have You Seen This?
The world's only podcast about obscure, overlooked, and misbegotten media.
All discussions will be spoiler heavy.
You have been warned.
This show would not be possible without the support of our patrons. If you would like to support our show, join us at patreon.com/haveyouseenthis. For just $5 a month, get access to our Discord and all 3 episodes every month covering movies you've never heard of, or maybe wish you hadn't.
I've got a dream about a boy in a castle and he's dancing like a cat on the stairs. He's got the fire of a prince in his eyes and the thunder of a drum in his ears. Yes, tonight we are discussing the poetry of Jim Steinman.
Yes. I like when he works with Mr. Loaf.
Mr.
As the New York
Loaf,
Times
rest
calls
in
him.
peace. If you haven't guessed, I have Bitter Karella with me today. Tim is off for the night because he does not do musicals except for a handful of films that he has designated as acceptable musicals. Films like Earth Girls Are Easy, Spinal Tap, etc. And you may say, Jen, those aren't musicals, to which we'll say, shut the fuck up. Tonight, we're talking about Streets of Fire from 1984, directed by Walter Hill.
Yes, Streets of Fire. The streets are indeed on fire tonight. On fire with the sounds of rock and or roll music. When the bombers invade a rock concert held by Amy Ein and the attackers to kidnap the lovely Amy and take her to the dark side of town, where she must be rescued by her ex-boyfriend Tom Cody and his delightful crew of misfits in Streets of Fire. Hi, this is Bitter Karella, blowing out your audio back walls tonight with my mellifluous radio voice.
That was great, Mike, except Diane Lane's character is named Ellen Aim. I'm not sure where you got Amy Ann or Auntie Ann or whatever the fuck you...
Amy Ein. I believe I was thinking of the dog in Cowboy Bebop. I believe the dog is named Amy Ein.
I confuse those two all the time.
It's a common problem, I found.
Because Diane Lane, what a dog, right?
Is Diane Lane the woman who played Eileen Eileen in this film?
I don't know about that. I do know she played Ellen Aim of Ellen
Aim,
the Attackers.
Ellen Aim and the Attackers?
Yes.
She played Ellen Aim of the Attackers, not all of the Attackers.
Yes.
Just
that's,
one. Just one.
That's the fake band in this movie, which is supposed to be a sort of dreamy rock and roll tour de force. Now, as I mentioned, this one is directed by Walter Hill, who was able to do this film because he was coming in hot off of 48 Hours, starring Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. That was one of the most successful films of 1982. So fast forward to 1984, and Walter Hill decides he wants to take a crack at something like his 1979 sort of success, The Warriors. I know many of you are familiar with the film. It's a fun one. It did make money, but critics really, really hated it at the time. It had not yet become the cult classic that it is today. But here we are, 1984. Walter Hill decides that he wants to put all of the things that he likes in one movie. And that's things like pretty girls, hot rods, gangs, rock and roll, just pure 1950s Americana, which is why you have the histrionics of Jim Steinman combined with boogie woogie and rockabilly. It's very weird, but the soundtrack is great. The movie, not so much. And Mike gave us a little bit of capsule summary, which I think is about all we have for the plot, because it's really, as your wife put it, a nothing burger of a movie.
Yes, it's the sort of film that I I think I mentioned earlier, if you watched it about 20 years ago, you probably love this film because you've completely forgotten everything about it, except that it is very cool. It has a lot of cool things in it, and I was of that feeling because when Jen asked me to speak on this movie, all that I remembered was that Rick Moranis is in it playing against type as a big asshole, and so I was very excited. But then when I actually went and watched again, I realized, oh, this film is actually quite dull. Not a lot happens in it, and although there are lots of cool things in it, they don't really add up to anything. Um, it's a real it just shows the limits of the rule of cool, I guess, because very often, a lot of filmmakers like to throw a lot of things like, oh yeah, we're gonna put in like fast cars and flamethrowers and things, and you get something like Mad Max Fury Road, which kind of holds together as a cool guy film.
Yeah.
And then you try the same thing with something like Streets of Fire, and it doesn't work very well. I blame I blame Tom Cody for that.
Right,
I
because
think.
it's a movie which is sort of dependent on a strong lead. This is Michael Paré playing Tom Cody, which was actually a character that Walter Hill wanted to build a trilogy around, sort of like a comic book hero, just like the coolest fucking guy, basically. And he said that of all the actors they saw that were possibilities, like Michael Paré had it. And it makes you wonder just what the hell those auditions or readings or whatever were like, because it does not come across on the screen. Like from
No.
the first close up of this man, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, he basically Tom Paré. Sorry, Michael Paré. What's the fellow's name
You're
again?
batting a
Tom
thousand with the
Cody.
names here. Tom Cody,
Well,
played by Michael Paré.
he's such a memorable voice in this film that obviously I would have no trouble remembering the actor's name. So Mr. Paré, Mr. Gay Paré has he has about as much charisma as a block of wood, and I don't know that that's entirely his fault. I feel like this character was written very poorly because obviously the filmmaker wanted to make him a cool tough guy that would of the sort you might see in a comic book or a cool action movie. But he forgot one of the important things in creating like a cool kind of tough guy character, which is the best ones are the ones who have a vulnerable side. They have a cool guy with a heart of gold, perhaps.
Right.
We like seeing our tough guys save a dog or help an orphan or something. And the problem is Mr. Paré's tough guy, cool guy act never cracks throughout the entire film. So from beginning to end, he's just kind of an asshole. He's just always being cool to people, and it's not good, which is very funny because he's placed against Rick Moranis, who is supposed to be an asshole.
Right.
We're not supposed to like Rick Moranis at all. He's quite the dick in this film, which is an interesting performance because you probably remember Rick Moranis from such films as The Ghostbusters and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and other films of that nature, where he usually plays kind of a lovable nebbish. So this time he's playing kind of I guess he's playing Ellen Ann's manager / boyfriend.
Ellen
I think they're an item. Ellen Ilm. Diane Lane.
Diane Lane plays Ellen Aim.
Again, another memorable character who has a lot to do on the screen and really brings a lot to the film. She's a very deep character. She sings rock and roll music, and she gets kidnapped by a gang of rapist greasers, and then she gets rescued, and that's it for her. That's pretty much.
Don't forget, she gets rescued and then she gets punched in the face, and then she sits out the rest of the film.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, you can get 2 extra episodes every month, plus access to our growing catalog of reviews for just $5 a month by going to patreon.com and searching for Have You Seen This?